Hi everyone! We are students from Bulacan State University main campus taking BS Math Computer Science. And kung gusto mong matuto about basic concepts in operating systems, halika't panoorin ang aming tutorial video.
What we mean by intermediary is it acts like a bridge. So we can say that the OS is a bridge that connects the computer application and the software and hardware. The operating system handles resources like a memory, CPU time, file storage, and input-output devices. It assigns these resources to users and programs as required for tasks. As for program control, the operating system prevents errors and incorrect computer use by controlling application execution. It guarantees that the procedure is safe and organized. When same access occurs in the OS, it indicates that numerous users are using the system, and the OS acts as a resource manager providing hardware to the user. It reduces the load on the system. It includes various tasks like scheduling and termination of a process. All data is stored in different tracks of hard disks, which are all handled by the storage manager. It includes a hard disk. Decide which process requires memory space and how much. The operating system also needs to allocate and deallocate memory. Since we want our computers to be safe and secure, the OS offers security for that. A multi-processing operating system is defined as a type of operating system that makes use of more than one CPU to improve performance. A multitasking operating system allows multiple users to perform multiple tasks at the same time. In a multi-user operating system, multiple numbers of users can access different resources of a computer at the same time. In job operating system, the jobs were performed in batches. It means jobs having similar requirements are grouped and executed as a group to speed up processing. Real-time operating systems are used in environments where large number of events, mostly external to the computer system, must be accepted and processed in a short time or within certain deadlines.
First come, first serve ay ang pinakamadaling scheduling algorithm. Ang proseso na unang dumadating sa queue ang mauunang ma-execute, base sa kanilang arrival time. Parang pila sa fast food, kung sino ang unang dumating, siya ang unang inaasikaso. Wala itong priority system, kaya fair siya pero hindi efficient kapag may mahahabang task. Ang shortest job first ay inuuna ang process na may pinakamahabang burst time. Kapag mas maikli ang task, mas mauuna itong matapos. Sa non-preemptive SJF, hindi ito magpapalit kahit may bagong process na may mas maikling burst time ang dumating. Parang pila sa isang photocopy machine. Kung sino may pinakamaliit na papaserox, siya ang mauuna. Mas mabilis itong matatapos pero hindi fair kasi pwedeng maiwan ang mahahabang task. Ang shortest remaining time first, non-preemptive, ay katulad ng SJF. Ang process na may pinakamaliit na natitirang oras ang mauunang ma-execute para sa non-preemptive mode. Hindi ito napuputol kahit dumating ang bagong process. Katulad ng SJF, inuuna nito ang task na may pinakamaliit na oras, pero tuloy-tuloy ang execution hanggang matapos ito. Walang switching na nangyayari.
Ang priority scheduling ay isang non-preemptive algorithm at isa sa mga karaniwang ginagamit na scheduling algorithm sa mga batch system. Sa algorithm na ito, ang bawat proseso ay inuuri batay sa arrival time. Ang proseso na mas maagang dumating ay uunahin. Kung may dalawang proseso na may parehong arrival time, ang proseso na may mas mataas na priority o mas mababang priority number tulad ng priority 1 ang mauuna. Kung pareho ang arrival time at priority ng dalawang proseso, iahambing ang process number at ang mas mababang process number ang uunahin. Ang proseso ng pag-prioritize na ito ay inuulit hanggang sa ang lahat ng proseso ay matapos ma-execute. Ang round robin ay isang CPU scheduling algorithm kung saan ang bawat proseso ay binibigyan ng nakatakdang oras o time slot para ma-execute ang paikot-ikot na cyclically. Ito ang preemptive na version ng first come first serve CPU scheduling algorithm. Ibig sabihin, kung ang isang proseso ay hindi pa tapos sa loob ng nakatakdang time slot, ito ay titigil muna at ang susunod na proseso ay magsisimula. Pagkatapos ng lahat ng proseso sa queue, babalik ulit sa naunang proseso na natigil hanggang sa lahat ng proseso ay matapos.
So next naman na ituturo natin ay ang first come first serve sa CPU scheduling, which is ang mode nito ay non-preemptive, which means na ang process na to is from running to waiting state. So, ano nga ba ang first come, first serve para sa pagsasolve nito? So, come from its word na first come, first serve. So, kung ano ang unang arrival time sa queue natin, ay yun ang una nating ipaprocess. Katulad nito, ang unang dumating sa arrival time natin is si P1. So, si P1, ang una nating isusulat. Si P1. Ayan. And then, ang arrival time ni P1 is 0. At ang burst time niya is 5. Since ang burst time niya is 5, na-interrupt siya ni P2, which is, nag-start siya sa 1. So, si P2 ang next natin na ilalagay sa Gantt chart natin. So, ditong P2 na to, nag-start siya sa 1 at ang burst time niya is 3. Para makuha mo yung ending burst time ni P2 or yung completion time ni P2 is ipa-plus mo lang tong completion time ni P1 sa burst time ni P2, which is 5 plus 3 is 8. And then next naman, nung nagkaroon ng completion time si P2, is nag-arrive naman si P3, which means si P3 ang ilalagay nating next process. So, nung nag-next process na si P3, ang burst time niya is 8. And ang completion time ng P2 natin is 8. So, ay add lang natin itong dalawa. So, 8 plus 8 is 16. So, nakuha na natin ang completion time ng tatlong queue. Pulahin lang natin ito ng saglit. So, ilalagay natin ang completion time ni P1, which is 5. 5. And then, completion time ni P2, which is 8. Completion time ni P3, which is 16. So, for next solving naman natin is yung turnaround time. Isosolve natin ang turnaround time, which is CT minus 80 or completion time minus arrival time. So, ang completion time natin is 5 minus arrival time, which is 0. So, 5 ang turnaround time natin. And the next naman is completion time is 8. Arrival time is 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. The next is 16 minus 2 is 14. So, for waiting naman, for waiting time natin, TAT minus BT, which means turnaround time minus burst time. So, turnaround time minus burst time, 5 minus 5 is 0. For process 2 or P2, 7 minus 3 is 4. And then, 14 minus 8, 6. So, yan po ang ang pag-compute ng first come, first serve for non-preemptive mode. So, for our next algorithm is meron tayong shortest job first or mas kilala natin as SJF. Kung sa first come, first serve is nag-base tayo sa arrival time, dito naman sa shortest job first is mag-base tayo sa burst time. Pero since ang unang arrival natin is 0, ang una mo natin ipaprocess ay si P1. P1, start siya sa 0, nag-end siya sa 5. So, nagtapos siya ng process ng 5. So, nung nagtapos ng process ng 5 si P1, is pumasok tong si P2. So, si P2 ang next nating ipaprocess. And para matapos natin yung process ni P2 is i-add lang natin yung burst time ni P2 at yung completion time ni P1, which is 5. So, 5 plus 3 is 8. So, nung nagtapos si P2 sa 8, pumasok naman si P3, which is ang burst time niya is 8. So, si P3 ang next na natin ipaprocess. And then, ang next naman niya is 16. Inad lang natin yung burst time ni P3 sa completion time ni P2. So, ang completion time ni P1 is 5, completion time ni P2 is 8, and then completion time ni P3 is 16. So, ilalagay lang natin sila dito. And then, complete lang natin yung turnaround time, which is na-explain ko na din kanina. CT minus ET is 5, 7, 14. And then, yung waiting time naman is 0, 4, and 6. So, yan lang po ang pagkakasolve for SJM. For our next topic will be the next example for round robin mode for preemptive, and it has a time quantum of 2 units. So, para saan ba ang time quantum? So, ang time quantum is para maging equal ang mga process ng nasa queue natin. So, for this, ganito ang pag-solve para sa round robin na preemptive. So, next natin is magkakaroon tayo ng dalawang Gantt chart. Ang una is for guide, and ang pangalawa is yung sa final Gantt chart natin or yun na pa-process na sa CPU. So, next na arrival time, ang first na arrival time natin is si P1 or yung process 1, which is nag-start siya sa 0. So, si P1 ang ilalagay natin dito sa guide. Then, si P1 ay ipaprocess na natin sa CPU. Since nalagay na natin sa CPU, si P1 is ika-cancel na natin siya. And then, nag-start siya sa 0. Since ang time quantum natin is 2, so need niya mag-process ng 2 units. So, need natin siya. Since na-process si P1 ng 2 units, ibabawas natin siya sa burst time niya, which is 5. So, 5 minus 2 is 3. So, meron pang 3 burst time si process 1. But, nung nag-process siya ng 2, nag-increase siya ng 2, may pumasok na dalawang arrival time, which is ang dalawang process natin na P2 and P3. So, since nakapasok na si P2 and P3, ilalagay natin siya sa guide natin. Si P2 and then si P3. Since si P1 ay may natitira pang 3 burst time, is isusulat ulit natin si P1 sa guide natin. So, ang next na ipaprocess natin ay si P2. So, si P2 ay ipapasok natin sa CPU para ma-process siya at ika-cancel natin siya sa guide. So, since CPU ay na-process and need siya mag-increase ng 2 quantum or 2 units, so, ang burst time niya is babawasan natin ng 2 units na magiging 1. So, si P2 ay nag-increase na 2. So, 2 plus 2 is 4. Since si P2 ay may natitira pang isang burst time, ilalagay natin ulit si P2 sa guide process natin na ipaprocess din natin later on. And then, next na ipaprocess natin is si P3. So, si P3, ilalagay natin siya sa CPU para ma-process and ika-cancel natin siya sa guide since napasok na siya sa CPU. So, si P3 ay mayroong 6 burst time na babawasan natin ng 2 na magiging 4 na lang. So, si P3 ay magkakaroon ng mag-i-increase siya ng 2 at magkakaroon ng 6 process na mag-i-end siya sa 6 process. So, since si P3 ay meron pang 4 burst time, isusulat ulit natin si P3 dito. And then, pupunta na tayo kay P1. Ipaprocess ulit natin si P1 na mayroong 3 burst time. So, si P1 ay may 3 burst time. Ilalagay natin si P1. Ipapasok natin siya dito sa CPU. Ika-cancel natin siya. And then, babawasan ng 2. Magiging isa na lang ang burst time niya. And then, si P1 ay mag-i-increase ng 2, which is magiging 8 na si P1. And then, next na ipaprocess, since si P1 ay may natitira pa palang burst time, is isusulat ulit natin si P1 sa ating guide. So, nandito pa si P1. And then, si P2, ipaprocess na natin siya, which is si P2 ay mayroong 1 burst time na lang. Since may 1 burst time na lang si P2, is isasakupin na natin yung burst time niya. So, i-increase na natin siya sa 1. So, si P2, ipapasok natin sa CPU, kakancel natin. Since isa na lang ang burst time na kinuha natin, i-increase siya ng 1, which is magiging 9. And then, next na ipaprocess natin is si P3. Si P3 ay mayroong 4 burst time na babawasan natin ng 2, so magiging 2 na lang si P3. And then, yung 9 natin, mag-i-increase ng 2, which is magiging 11. And then, si P3 may natitira pang 2 burst time, so isusulat pa natin si P3 dito. Then, kakancel natin si P3 dito, since napasok na natin siya sa CPU. And then, next step naman is si P1. Si P1 ay mayroon na lang natitirang isang burst time. So, ipapasok natin si P1 sa CPU. Cancel natin dito since mapaprocess na siya. And then, mag-i-increase siya sa 1. Dahil yun na lang natitirang burst time niya. So, si P1 ay mayroong 12 units na. So, ibig sabihin, tapos na ang pag-process kay P1. So, next naman, ang natitira na lang is si P3 na mayroong 2 burst time. So, since ang quantum natin is 2, kukuhanin na natin yung natitirang burst time kay 3, papasok na natin siya kay CPU at ipaprocess na. Then, magiging 14 na ang burst time niya. So, since yan na ang burst time niya, pwede na natin makuha ang completion time ng lahat. So, ang completion time ni P3 is 14. Ang completion time ni P1 is 12. Then, ang completion time ni P2 is 9. Then, ayan ay completion time and then pwede na natin makuha ang turnaround time which is CT minus AP. So, 12 minus 0 is 12. 9 minus 1 is 8. 14 minus 2 is 12. So, for waiting time naman, TAT minus PD. So, 12 minus 5 is 7. 8 minus 3 is 5. And then, 12 minus 6 is 6. So, dyan na po nagtatapos ang ating example para sa round-robin time quantum. So, ang pinagkaiba ng preemptive scheduling sa non-preemptive scheduling. Ang preemptive scheduling is yung CPU ay maaaring maagaw mula sa isang process kung mayroon na mas mataas na priority o dumating na ibang process. So, gumagamit ito ng time sharing o priority-based approaches. While sa non-preemptive scheduling, ang process ay hindi maaalis sa CPU hanggat ito ay matapos or mag-waiting state. So, sa simpleng salita, maaaring magka-result siya ng starvation o pag-stuck ng ibang mga process. And then, ang conclusion natin dito, ang preemptive ay nagbibigay daan sa multitasking at ang non-preemptive naman ay simple pero pwedeng makaantala sa iba't ibang mga process.
First come, first serve, also known as the FCFS. In this algorithm, requests are processed in the order that they arrive. The first request to come is the first to be served, making it the simplest scheduling algorithm. Next one is the shortest seek time first, also known as the SSTF. This algorithm selects the request with the shortest seek time relative to the current position of the disk arm. In simpler terms, the closest request to the disk arm is prioritized and served first. Okay, so now let's move on to the example. The first algorithm that we have is the first come, first serve algorithm. We have to consider the queue, the track, and the head pointer itself. For this algorithm to work, we have to start in the head pointer, which is the number 53. Then, as we all know from the title itself, first come, first serve, we will head to the next queuing number. In this case, or in this scenario, we will be having number 98, number 183, 37, 122, 14, 124, 65, and 67. Now, for the solution, we will try to subtract the head pointer itself to the next track, okay? So, by doing this, we will try to subtract every queue up to the next queue. Then, after subtracting every single one of it, we are going to add everything up to get the total number of tracks. Okay, next example is we have the shortest seek time first. In this scenario, there will also be a queue, a track, and the head pointer. Sa case na to, ang head pointer ulit natin is number 53. Now, for this algorithm to work, well, based on the title itself, hahanapin natin yung shortest seek time na pinakamalapit sa latest na queuing number or sa latest na number na pinaprocess na natin. Pero dito sa case na to, pag magsisimula tayo, lagi pa rin natin i-consider yung head pointer. So, by doing this, i-consider natin as 53 ang starting point natin. Ngayon, based sa queuing number natin, ang pinakamalapit na number sa 53 na naka-base dun sa title natin, which is shortest seek time, is number 65. Now, after natin makuha yung number 65,
titignan na naman natin yung susunod na pinakamalapit na number, which is number 67. So, ganun lang ang gagawin natin process hanggang sa ma-process natin lahat ng nasa queue time natin. Ngayon, para naman sa solution, based lang din sa first time first serve, kung isusubtract lang naman natin yung mga queue natin. So, sa head pointer na una yon, sumunod is 65. Ngayon, isusubtract natin yung 65 sa 53. Ngayon, bakit 65 tsaka 53? Siyempre, mas mataas yung 65, kaya ima-minus natin yung sa 53. Next naman, ang susunod doon is 65 and 67 and so on and so forth. Para makuha natin yung total number of tracks. So, for us to get the total number of tracks, after natin mo-subtract yung mga queuing time natin, i-add up naman natin silang lahat para makuha natin yung total number of tracks. In this scenario, we will be having 299 tracks. Scan. In the scan algorithm, the disk arm moves in one direction, serving all requests along its path until it reaches the end. It then reverses the direction and continues to serve requests in the opposite direction until all are completed. The next one is the look algorithm, which is also similar to scan but with a key difference. Instead of moving to the end of the disk, the arm stops at the last request in its current direction. After serving the request in its path, it reverses direction and continues until the last request in the opposite direction is served. Okay, for our next example is we have the scan algorithm. Meron ulit tayong queue, track number, and the head pointer. So for this to work, ang gagawin natin, as usual, mag-start tayo sa head pointer natin. Papunta sa pinakadulo para lang ma-process natin yung mga hindi pa natin napaprocess. In this scenario, head pointer natin is 53. Ang track natin is 200. So bakit tayo 0 to 199 lang? Diba dapat 0 to 200? In this case, 0 is considered as 1. And 199 is considered as a 200th number dun sa track na yun. So basically, overall, ang track na to is 200. Ngayon, pagkapunta natin ng 53, i-queue natin yung mga susunod na numbers sa atin papunta sa 199. Papalik doon sa mga hindi pa natin na-queue, which is the number 37 and the number 40. And for the solution naman, syempre sobrang crucial to. Parehas lang naman sila, katulad ng first come first serve and shortest seek time. Ang pinagkaiba lang talaga nila is i-include mo yung 199 sa solution mo. Isusubtract mo yung 199 doon sa nauna sa kanya at isusubtract mo ulit siya doon sa susunod sa kanya. So basically, para makuha natin lahat to, subtract lang natin yung mga or pinasses natin. After natin makuha yung subtracted values, i-add up natin lahat yun para makuha natin yung total tracks natin. In this scenario, magkakaroon tayo ng 331 tracks. C-scan. It also operates similarly to scan, but with a circular approach. The disk arm moves in one direction, serving all requests along its path. Once it reaches the end, it immediately returns to the beginning without serving any request during the return. The process then repeats in a circular manner. Next one is the C-look. It is also a variation of look that also uses a circular approach. The disk arm serves requests in one direction until their last request is reached. Then, it jumps back to the first request in the opposite direction without serving any request during the return trip. It continues this circular pattern to process all requests. Okay, next example natin is the C-scan algorithm. Similar lang tayo sa scan, pero dito, pagka-bounce back natin ng 199, babalik agad tayo sa 0 without processing pa yung mga natitira. Tapos, after natin maka-bounce back sa 0, ipaprocess na ulit natin sila. Okay? So, in this scenario, meron tayong number 53 as our head pointer, and kanina ko pa sinasabi, 53, kung ano ang number ng head pointer natin, doon ang starting point natin lagi. So, katulad ng scan, mag-start tayo sa 53, babounce tayo sa 199 para lang ma-bounce back ulit tayo at ma-queue natin yung iba. Pagka-bounce back natin ng 199, bounce tayo sa 0. Yun ang purpose ng C-scan na pinagkaiba ng scan. C-scan kasi, 199 lang para ma-queue yung iba. Dito kay C-scan, 199 muna, balik kay 0, then dun pa lang siya mag-start mag-process nung mga nasa queue na hindi pa natin napaprocess. So in this case, sa solution naman, syempre, tulad ng sabi ko sa scan, Pag in-include mo yung 199, i-include mo din dito. Pero ang i-include din natin dito is the number 0. Kasi nag-process tayo kay 0 eh. So basically, sa solution natin, ipaprocess natin isusubtract natin yung 199 sa nauna sa kanya at isusubtract natin yung 199 sa susunod sa kanya, which is the number 0. After nun, after natin makuha ang subtracted values, i-add up natin sila para makuha natin yung total number of tracks. In this scenario or in this case, 382 tracks ang meron tayo sa C-scan example na to. Okay, so next example natin is the look algorithm. Similar lang din to sa scan algorithm natin, pero in this case, hindi na tayo pupunta sa magkabilang dulo ng track. In this scenario, magsisimula ulit tayo sa head pointer, which is the number 53. Tapos, pupunta tayo sa last request natin, which is the number 183. Then, after nun, magre-reverse tayo, papunta sa lowest processing natin, which is the number 40. So, basically, dito sa look na to, hindi naman na natin need bumalik sa magkabilang dulo, or hindi na natin kailangan pumunta sa magkabilang dulo para lang mag-bounce back tayo, papunta dun sa mga queue na hindi pa natin napaprocess. For the solution, same lang din katulad ng lahat. Ang kailangan lang talaga natin dito is isusubtract natin yung mga pre-process natin. After that, we are going to add everything up to find the number of tracks. In this scenario, we have 299 tracks. So for our last example sa disk scheduling algorithm is the C-look algorithm. In this case, hindi na natin kailangan mag-bounce back from 199, then 0, para lang ma-process natin lahat ng nasa queue. In this case, 53 ulit ang head pointer natin. What does that mean? It means na dun ulit tayo mag-start. Ngayon, mag-start tayo sa head pointer, ipaprocess natin lahat ng nasa queue papunta sa last highest number, which is the 183. After nun, magba-bounce back tayo sa lowest number natin na nasa queue, which is the number 14, bago tayo mag-bounce back and mag-process ng number 37. Unlike kanina sa C-scan na kung saan kailangan muna mag-bounce back sa both ends, dito naman kailangan lang natin mag-bounce back sa highest and lowest values para lang ma-queue natin yung mga hindi pa natin nag-queue. In this solution, well, wala naman pinagkaiba. Same lang siya sa first come first serve and sa shortest seek time, na kung saan kung magkakasunod lang siya, kung ano yung sunod-sunod na pre-process mo, yun lang din yung isusubtract mo. After getting the subtracted values, we will now go and add everything up to get the total number of tracks, which is 322.
When physical memory is full and a new page needs to be loaded, the operating system must decide which existing page to evict. This decision is made using page replacement algorithms, which aim to minimize the number of page faults and optimize performance. Demand paging is a virtual memory management technique where pages are loaded into physical memory only when they are needed by a process. This contrasts with an anticipatory paging, which loads pages in advance. This method is often referred to as lazy loading, as it minimizes the initial load time by only bringing in pages as they are required. Common page replacement algorithms. Number 1. First in, first out, FIFO. The oldest page in memory is replaced first. Number 2. Least recently used, LRU. The page that has not been used for the longest time is replaced. Number 3. Optimal page replacement. The algorithm predicts future requests and replaces the page that will not be needed for the longest period. Number 4. Least frequently used, or LFU, replaces the pages that has been used the least frequently. Number 5. Random replacement. A random replacement page is selected for replacement. Each algorithm has its strengths and weaknesses. For instance, LRU generally provides better performance than FIFO, but requires more overhead to track usage history. Page files or swap files are used in conjunction with demand paging to store pages that are not currently in physical memory. When a page is evicted from ROM due to a replacement algorithm decision, it may be written to a page file on disk. This allows for quick retrieval when that page is needed again, although accessing data from disk is significantly slower than accessing it from ROM. For extra credit, ito yung mga dagdag na feature or technique na hindi kailangan para gumana ang basic na virtual memory. Pero kapag in-implement, mas magiging efficient at optimized ang system. For example, advanced page replacement algorithms. Example, ang LRUK or ARC na mas sophisticated kaysa sa basic FIFO or LRU, hindi siya required pero kapag ginamit, mas maganda ang performance. And optional, ito yung mga feature or components na pwedeng gamitin pero hindi talaga essential sa virtual memory system. Ginagamit lang ito depende sa sitwasyon or sa requirements ng system. Another example, page file or swap space. May mga system na walang page file, tulad ng ilang embedded system na umaasa lang sa physical memory. Dito, optional lang ang page file. In short, sa extra credit, para siyang pag-aaral na hindi mo naman super kailangan mag-advanced study para sa mga subject mo ng exam. Pero, kapag ginawa mo doon, may mga dagdag na benefits sa knowledge mo at ang optional naman, para mag-make up na kahit hindi ka maglagay everyday, ay maganda ka pa rin.
And that's it guys para sa pagtatakal natin about operating systems. Sana ay may natutunan kayong lahat.